I'm Dr. Christy, and this is Climbing Fish Parenting, practical parenting strategies in 20 minutes or less. I'm a psychologist and behavior analyst, and I work with exhausted, overwhelmed parents who feel like they've tried everything and nothing works. If you're listening to this while folding the laundry, hiding in your car, or wishing bedtime would just end already, you're in the right place. Today's topic is getting your kids to listen the first time. By the end of this episode, you'll understand why they ignore you and have a strategy to reset the pattern. Ready to transform your parenting journey? Let's dive in. I want to start by saying something important. When your kids don't listen, it's not because they're trying to make your life miserable. And it's not because you're failing as a parent. There are very specific, fixable reasons why kids don't follow directions. Once you understand what's actually happening, you can change the pattern. So let's break down what's going wrong and exactly how to fix it. Reason number 1, your instructions don't match their developmental level. Here's a mistake I see all the time. Parents give commands without considering whether their child actually understands what's being asked. Picture this. You're rushing to get out the door for school, and you tell your 5-year-old, "Go get ready." 5 minutes later, you find him sitting on his bedroom floor, playing with action figures, shoes untied, teeth unbrushed, backpack nowhere in sight. You are furious. He looks confused. Here's what happened. Get ready is abstract. It requires executive functioning skills your 5-year-old doesn't have yet. His brain can't break that big, vague task into sequential steps. So he hears, "Get ready," walks to his room, sees his toys, and his brain says, "Ooh, Captain America!" The fix? Break it down into concrete single actions. Put on your shoes. Once that's done, now brush your teeth. Your child needs you to do the executive functioning for them until their brain develops that capacity. And if your child has ADHD or other executive functioning challenges, that timeline might be even longer than you expect. Same thing with younger kids and abstract language. Let's say you're at the playground and you call out, "Be good." What does that even mean to a 3-year-old? Their brain can't translate that into specific behavior. Instead, you need to be concrete and specific. "Stay where I can see you," or "Keep your hands to yourself," or "Use gentle touches with your sister." These are clear, actionable instructions a young child can actually follow. The key here is knowing your child's developmental level and adjusting your language accordingly. What works for your 10-year-old won't work for your 4-year-old. And honestly, if you're constantly frustrated because your child never listens, it might not be defiance. It might be that you're speaking a language their brain can't process yet. Reason 2, you're being too vague. Even when kids are developmentally ready to understand more complex instructions, vague language sets everyone up for failure. Here's what this looks like. It's bath time, and you say, "Go get cleaned up." Your 7-year-old goes upstairs, turns on the bath, and proceeds to play with bath toys for 20 minutes without touching soap. You come upstairs and lose it. "I told you to get cleaned up." And your child genuinely doesn't understand why you're upset. They got in the bath, didn't they? The problem? Get cleaned up is vague. It doesn't tell your child exactly what you want them to do. Their interpretation of cleaned up is wildly different from yours. Instead, be specific. Get in the bath, wash your hair with shampoo, scrub your body with soap, and rinse off. Now there's no room for misinterpretation. Your child knows exactly what success looks like. Or let's say you're at the dinner table and you tell your child, "Use good manners." That's vague. What are good manners to a 6-year-old? Be specific. Chew with your mouth closed. Or keep your elbows off the table. Or say please and thank you. These are concrete behaviors they can execute. The more specific you are, the more likely your child is to do exactly what you want. And when they do, they get to experience success, which builds confidence and increases the likelihood they'll listen next time. Reason number 3, you're not giving them choices. Here's something powerful that parents often overlook. Children follow directions better when they have some control over the situation. Let me give you an example. You need your daughter to clean up her art supplies before dinner. You say, "Put your art stuff away now." She digs in her heels. "I don't want to." Now you're in a power struggle. Here's what works better. It's time to clean up your art supplies. You can either put the markers away first or the paper first. Which would you like to do? Notice what happened? The expectation didn't change. She still has to clean up, but now she has agency. She gets to make a decision. And when kids feel like they have some control, they're far more likely to cooperate. This works in so many situations. Getting dressed in the morning. It's time to get dressed. Do you want to wear your Star Wars shirt or your penguin shirt? Either choice is fine with you. You're just giving them ownership over the decision. Helping with chores. I need help setting the table. Would you like to put out the plates or the silverware? Again, the work gets done either way, but your child feels empowered rather than controlled. Here's the key. Both choices need to be equally acceptable to you. Don't offer a choice unless you're genuinely okay with either option. And the choice should be about how they comply, not whether they comply. This strategy also builds important life skills: decision-making, independence, and the understanding that they can have autonomy within structure. Plus, it dramatically reduces power struggles. That alone is worth it. Reason number 4, you're asking instead of telling. This is huge, and so many parents do it without realizing they're sabotaging themselves. Here's the scenario. Toys are all over the living room floor, and you say, "Will you pick up your toys now?" Your strong-willed child looks at you and says, "No." Now what? You backed yourself into a corner by phrasing it as a question. If you ask your child a question, you're implying they have the option to say no. So guess what? They will, especially strong-willed kids who are already testing boundaries and trying to assert independence. Here's the fix. State it as a direction, not a question. It's time to pick up your toys. No question mark, no room for negotiation. It's just a clear expectation. Now, there are times when asking is appropriate, but only when you genuinely want to give them the option of complying. For example, do you want to clean up your room now or after your snack? That's fine because you're actually okay with either answer. You're giving them real choice about timing. But if you need something to happen now, don't phrase it as a question. Will you put your shoes on? Becomes, please put your shoes on. Can you come to the dinner table? Becomes, it's time for dinner. Come to the table, please. This one shift eliminates so many unnecessary battles. You're not being mean or controlling. You're just being clear about expectations instead of accidentally inviting debate. Reason number 5, you're using let's when you don't mean it. This one is sneaky, and parents do it all the time without realizing how it undermines their credibility. You say, let's clean up the playroom. Your child gets excited. They think you're going to help. They start picking up a few toys and look around for you. But you've walked into the kitchen to start dinner. Your child feels tricked. They stop cleaning and go back to playing. Or maybe you do this. Let's get in the car. But you're not getting in the car with them. You're loading the groceries in the trunk while expecting them to buckle themselves in. Again, they feel misled. Here's the rule. Only use let's if you are genuinely planning to participate in the activity with your child. If you say let's, you're making a promise that you'll be doing it together. If you're not planning to help, be honest about it. Please clean up the playroom, or Time to get in the car. No let's. Just a clear, straightforward direction. When you use let's inappropriately, your child starts to distrust your words. They learn that what you say isn't always what you mean, and that erodes their willingness to listen to you across the board. Be intentional with your language. If you're asking them to do something independently, don't pretend you're doing it together. Your credibility matters, and consistency between your words and actions builds trust, which leads to better listening. Reason number 6, you're explaining at the wrong time. This is one of the most common mistakes I see, and it derails compliance every single time. Let me show you what this looks like. You're at the park and it's time to leave. You say, "Please get in the car." Your child says, "Why?" You respond, "Because we need to get home for dinner." Now your child says, "But I'm not hungry yet." You say, "Well, Dad will be home soon and we need to eat." Your child, "Can't we just stay 5 more minutes?" You, "No, we need to go now. Get in the car." See what happened? You gave the reason between the instruction and compliance, and it opened the door for negotiation and argument. Your child got distracted by debating the reason instead of focusing on the action you requested. You ended up repeating the command and getting into a power struggle. Here's what research tells us. Reasons should come either before the instruction or after compliance, never in between. Let me show you how to do it right. We're going to leave the park in 2 minutes because we need to get home for dinner. Please get in the car. The explanation comes first, then the clear direction. Your child says, "Why?" You gesture toward the car and say nothing. Or you simply say, "I already told you why. Please get in the car." Your child gets in the car. You say, "Thank you for listening the first time. As I mentioned, we need to get home for dinner." Notice the difference? You didn't repeat the command. You didn't get sucked into a debate. You used minimal words and waited for compliance. Then after they followed through, you reinforced with praise and briefly restated the reason. When you time your explanations properly, you eliminate so many arguments. You keep the focus where it belongs, on your child following through with what you asked, not on negotiating whether your reason is good enough. Reason number 7, they get more attention for not listening. Here's a big one, the pattern that's probably maintaining the whole problem. Your child is more motivated by your attention than almost anything else in the world. And if they get more of your attention when they don't follow directions than when they do, you're accidentally reinforcing exactly what you don't want. Think about what happens in your house. When your child follows directions, what do they get? Maybe a quick thanks while you're looking at your phone. Maybe nothing at all. You just move on to the next thing on your mental to-do list. But when they don't listen, oh, now they've got your full attention. You repeat yourself. Your voice gets louder. You make eye contact. You stop what you're doing and walk over to them. You explain why they need to listen. Maybe you negotiate or give warnings. Even though it's negative attention, it's still attention. And attention is incredibly powerful. Your child's brain learns, when I ignore Mom, I get her full focus. When I comply, I get basically nothing. So guess which behavior increases? Here's the fix, and it requires you to completely flip the script. When your child follows directions, make a big deal out of it. Not fake or over the top, but genuine, enthusiastic acknowledgement. Thank you for coming to the table the first time I asked. That was so helpful. Or, I noticed you got your pajamas on right away. Great job listening. Or, you picked up your toys without me asking twice. I really appreciate that. Get specific. Make eye contact. Smile. Let them feel your approval and attention when they do what you asked. And when they don't comply, use the absolute minimum amount of attention possible. Give one clear direction. If they don't follow through, use a brief reminder or a gesture. Don't explain repeatedly. Don't negotiate. Don't give them your full engaged focus. This is hard at first, especially when you're frustrated. But when you shift the balance, when listening gets them more of your attention than ignoring does, the behavior will follow. Kids will always move toward what gets them connection with you. All right, that's it for today. Remember, your kids aren't ignoring you because they're bad kids or because you're failing. They're struggling because of how you're communicating. Your words might not match what their brain can actually process. You're accidentally inviting negotiation instead of giving clear expectations. Or you've unknowingly created a pattern where not listening gets them more of your attention than listening does. The fix? Match their developmental level and be specific. Offer choices within your expectations. Tell, don't ask. Only use let's when you mean it. Time your explanations before or after compliance, never during. And flip the attention. Give way more of it when they listen than when they don't. Start there. If this was helpful, hit subscribe so next week's episode shows up automatically. And here's a bonus. Head to my website at climbingfishparenting.com to sign up for my newsletter. When you do, you'll get a guide with 3 additional first-time listening strategies we didn't cover today. That strategy I just gave you, it's the whole climbing fish philosophy in action. There's a quote, "Everybody's a genius. But if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing it's stupid." Your kid isn't broken. Your parenting isn't broken. Sometimes we're just asking our fish to climb trees. That's what we fix here. I'm Dr. Christy, and I'll see you next week.